Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is the growing economic influence of China in the Caribbean. And of course, we have with us to talk about the growing economic influence of China in the Caribbean, Dr. LMadu, our not only African expert, but Dr. LMadu has a lot of information about the South America as well as the Caribbean. And of course, Dr. LMadu, let me welcome you to the show this morning, and let me tell you how delighted we are to have another opportunity to elicit from you some information that very few people are probably knowledgeable about it. And so that's what we'd like to do today, to give you an opportunity to talk about the growing economic influence of China in the Caribbean and some of what that really means, not only for China and the Caribbean, but what it means for the United States of America and other Western powers.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here again this morning. Well, recently, Chinese economic influence has been growing around the world. First Africa, and now the Caribbean. After the Cold War, with the demise of the Soviet Union, Chinese, economic influence started growing. China has been in Africa for long. It's just that, the militarily, they've been in Africa for long. They were supporting some liberation movements in Angola, in Mozambique, in Guinea-Bissau, and Cape Verde, during the anti-Portuguese colonial wars. So they've been there. They built the Tanzam railways, from Tanzania to Zambia to export the copper from Zambia to the port of Dar es Salaam. So they've been there for long.
So China has been active in Africa in a real sense.
Exactly, militarily. Recently, their economic, influence has been growing, in a lot of African countries. So now they've shifted, their attention to the Caribbean. And when we talk about the Caribbean, we talk of countries like Cuba, Haiti, it. But in the context, of Chinese economic investments, we will focus on the CARICOM countries. When I say CARICOM countries, I mean the Caribbean Economic Community. They have their own economic community, like you have the African Union and all that. So the Caribbean countries have their own economic community. And this community was founded in 1973 on what they call the Treaty of Chaguaramas. Since then, it has grown. It was formed by about 15 English-speaking countries. And of course, most of the countries in the Caribbean, the islands, are English-speaking, except for a few. But recently, two non-English-speaking countries have joined. Haiti is French-speaking, has become a member, as well as Suriname, which is Dutch-speaking, has become a member too. But the Dominican Republic is an associate member of this group. And when you talk of the CARICOM countries, you talk of Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Lucia, St. Kitts, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbuda, and Bahamas, and Barbados. These are the countries that make up CARICOM. So, and their economic power is not high. That's the difference. There are only about 20-some million in the whole Caribbean countries. For example, the country of Dominica is just 83,000 people. St. Kitts and Nevis is about 50,000 people. Jamaica is really the largest country in the CARICOM countries. So the rest are small countries. So all together you have about 20 million people in the Caribbean, and their economic muscle is not that strong. So one will ask, why are the Chinese bordering with the Caribbean with such a small population, not a lot of minerals, like in Africa? The economic base is not that large, consumer-wise, So why are they there?
Very good.
That's the question we'll get into in our next,
Very good.
segment.
Of course, that's what we'll do. We'll have our first commercial break, Dr. LMadu, and then we'll come back and have you to tell us in a real sense why this area, apparently that has very, very little interest in terms of its economic development and et cetera. Why is China concerned with this particular area of the world? And of course, we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break.